This is Kanye West's stem player, and people have been wondering about taking it apart, and I thought I would record a video on doing just that, and also putting it back together again without breaking it. So it has this unusual feeling, but not unpleasant. Like, people don't like the color. They talk about not liking the flesh tones, but I like it. It's not, once it's on its own and away from other things, it's nice. But there's no obvious way to tear it down. And so that's what we're doing. So this is the really awkward part, Ace Ventura time. And I've already been in it once. There we go. Come on. Second time was much easier, but you're just hey, turn off. There we go. Here's the shell. I would like to see someone design a mold for this, which would be really difficult because you would need something. Well, I guess if you intend on pulling it out of this, but that's for another video. So to get in here, we've got 4 screws, and they are Torx 5. So don't put Torx 4 in there because it will turn it, but you'll have a bad time because you will eventually strip it. I want to see if this hex 5 will work. That'd be a negative. Okay, that's what I thought. All right. So I like to wiggle it around to get it in there. Good. Come on out. Oh. Want to get it seated in there well, or you will strip it. And this is honestly bad. I should be using a real, like a regular just turning screwdriver instead of this thing. Because if I don't fully have it in there, then it strips. There we go. And there are no clips holding it together. So just get a splunger. Get something in there, but it comes out easy. You could probably use a fingernail or something. There we go. I said it comes out easy. Come on. I don't remember struggling with it the first time, but the first time I wasn't on camera. There we go. Okay. So, is that in focus? You can see the pogo pins, which these aren't technically pogo, they're just pins. Which that is, I don't like how not in focus that is. Can I zoom? No, we don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, so these guys interface with tiny holes over here, and this is how people break it. So they take it apart just fine, and then when they're putting it back together, they don't get those pins aligned. So you have to sort of wiggle it in there, which once I get to the end, I'll show that. So next up, these out of the way, which I'm not going to take this out, but you can see the touch sensitive pieces there. So you could take this apart if you needed to. Someone was asking about, oh wait, let me get this in the center of the screen. Someone was asking about the pins, and you could solder them up and interface with them and figure out what each of those pogo pins are, and then use this on something else, which would be pretty neat. And these LED lights are super bright when they're not in the case. So next, we've got 3 screws. Put it in there, seat it good. They're the same screws, entire same screws. I'd be really curious what rating iFixit would give this. I think it'd be pretty high, honestly. So then the, I believe that's Bluetooth antenna. It's some sort of antenna. I've never actually used Bluetooth on this. What is this? I'm looking at the website right now. Features, add effects, Bluetooth. Yeah, Bluetooth is a feature of this. I plug it in. Hey, and it has a 3.5. Jack, you can. This is the one place taking it apart where you can mess up, because this little short speaker wire is soldered right there. You do not need to remove this to take it apart. Your life will be a little bit easier if you're trying to get back there, but you don't need to. And so then this is the awkward wiggling, which I've already been in here. So if you haven't been in yours, it'll be a little bit harder. But there's an angle trick to it. Come on. There we go. And then out comes the battery. Go ahead and unplug this. That is one thing that is a little bit sad, or not sad, but the battery, the better place for the battery in terms of safety would be as if it was plugged in on this side and you could unplug it, but just because of the difficulty of the design. But I don't ding them for that. When you're taking it apart, you could accidentally turn it on. But the USB-C port, 3.5 millimeter. And then there's this plastic shell thing. Now this, I hate vibration on things. And so each time that I was like moving the different volume settings and say turning something down, turning something up, it's like buzz, buzz, buzz. And that does not do good things for me. So I wanted that gone. And the day that I got it in the mail, I took it apart, which is just a thing that I do. This is the vibrating motor. Plugs in right there. I'm not putting it back. It goes underneath this thing. Come on out. So again, you need to be careful because these guys need to stay together. But it goes underneath this. Something along the lines of that. And they do have some foam on here so it doesn't shake too much. But, oh man, no, just no. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. I would like to keep it so that if, I don't know, I give it away or I sell it, that the person who gets it can have the vibrator motor. Because where this is good, say if you're DJing a set and you're holding this device in your hands and you've got the loud music going, you can't tell. You might want to be able to tell by feel of what you're doing, and so you know you're over here, but are you actually in contact with it? So that's where it would be really helpful. But I'm not a DJ. I just bought this because it's weird and I like Kanye, and weird things are fun. And this is proven to be very fun. What I'm thinking about doing is cutting somewhere in the case. Maybe seeing if I can split part of it open, and then that's where this would go. If I did that, I would like it to look really nice, though, because I'm going to be bringing this. I find myself putting it in the bag and then playing with it whenever I have a free moment. Another feature I want to add to this is I want to get a little strip of leather or something and put it over here so I know which side. Because when you're looking at this, it's like, which do I need to open it like this? No. Do I need, no. And you look until you finally find the right side. And so it'd be nice if there was a little, I don't know, triangle mark or something here, which they had the ability to add marks. So we can, you know, I don't know, mirror that over on this side. But still, this is an incredible case, and you need the case because this guy's awkward without it. But to put it back together, so you've taken this out or you've added it back. I could show you adding it back, but I hate that thing. So we'll take this and get it into the right position, which I'm trying to show it on the camera to get it under there. There we go. Okay, that's the right spot. Next up is the battery, which we'll go ahead and plug that back in. Which way is it? Okay, there's a little, it's hard to see it, but there's a little nub, and that nub faces that away. So there's a little spot for the nub to go in. And then the opposite side is the side with the pins where you can see the metal. There we go. So then carefully place this back. Okay. And then, hey, turn off. Be careful not to... Come on, turn off. There we go. Be careful not to turn that on while you're using it, or while you're putting it back together. And then get that back in there. Okay. Just want to do, I like to do a little wiggle with electronics, things like this, especially with this where it needs to be fit in there correctly. So I think that's pretty good. Okay. Hold that down. Now, time to screw it back in. The positioning of this is rather important because if you the pins, these pins need to interface with the top piece correctly. So you don't want to damage those guys. That's the one thing that it is great that it is not a it's great that it is not a ribbon cable, because I hate ribbon cables and it seems like they always break. And this just feels like a far more trustworthy connection. Oops. Get on there. Oh, hit the camera mount. Oh. And that is on there. Push that down. If you push this wire back and forth, eventually that's going to break. So you'll want to avoid doing what I just did. So here's the part where people break it. Or at least one person I know has broken their stem player. So you'll take it and you'll align it with the little, there are cutouts on the PCB for, there are cutouts on the PCB for these pillar things. There's a word, I just can't think of it right now. And then you'll get it on there and you're gonna wanna move it around until you feel that the pins have gone into the little hole, which let me take this out one more time to show, and hopefully I don't break it. Come on. So I got them in right, but there's a little hand movement, or a little wiggle that you do. So you take it, and you get it lined up correctly, and right there, that's where I can feel the pins. They're not going in, and then they're in, and I can't quite transmit that feeling, but it is in, and we can turn it on. I'm not going to play anything because I don't have any non-copyright stuff, but everybody works. Let me see, probably do like a second. Oh wait, am I forgetting buttons? Oh yeah. It is functioning, just without the what do you call it? It's functioning, but without the vibrator motor in there. It's gone. Goodbye. Okay, so then we want to screw in the back ones. And getting these guys screwed in good is very important, because it relies on that. Oops. It relies on the pins, the contact for the pins. Now, if you decide that you want to dye the body, sometimes people don't they don't like this color for some reason. So odd. Take it apart. Because if I guess if you're using an alcohol-based dye, the alcohol will dry, but still there's a chance that you'll have pins or something that are in contact. So I guess if anything, if you dye it and you don't take it out, then you can, I don't know. I guess if you're using like a brush-on dye or something, but I'd say just take it out of the shell. Like, why not? Okay, and that. So next up, this is the hard part. This is probably the hardest and most awkward part of this, but what I did is I got it a bit inside out, and hey, this is a time you can clean it. And, oh, there we go. Doesn't that look great? Anyway, here are the buttons. I did not do it like this last time, but let's see if this works out easier. Wait, is it upside down? It's upside down. Okay. I had the correct spot, but the wrong orientation. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey, mold marks. That's where they molded it. Yeah, come on. It's already done this once, so it's not as hard on it. Oops, I'm hitting it. Wow, that was way easier than the first time. Like I said, this is the second time. I've already been in there. And it's on. I should load up some... It's so nice not having this vibrate at me each time. Which then, if I was, say, doing like a gig or something, which I don't do gigs because I'm not a DJ, but if I was, I would want a way to do that on or off. I don't know. Maybe find some unused pin in the USB-C that could be a switch. That's a possibility. You could just straight up add another port that would control whether this guy's on or not. Or someone could dump the OS of this thing, which it's running an ARM processor, and they could add a setting to turn it off. But yeah, so neat little device. Is it worth $200? I think so. I think this thing is actually worth $200. Now that's assuming that the web service continues, and I would really like it if they released software that could be on the computer that would do the same thing, where you don't have to use a server just in case the server goes down. But other than that, I don't know. I don't know what repairability score I'd give it. Maybe a 9, an 8. Some of this stuff is hard to get, so a 7. I don't know, but that's high praise nowadays. But yeah, this is the stem player. It was really cool. Yeah.